So my big question is, it's National Day of Prayer, you guys. That's trending on Twitter. And I'll say what I always say, and this isn't my quote. Someone else said it first. I forget who said it first, but the hands that do are better than the lips that pray. I've always said that. I'll always say that because it's the truth. National Day of Prayer, that's something that we do here in the United States because we apparently have the separation of church and state, except not really. And this is a thing where there's a prayer at the White House, and everybody's supposed to honor the National Day of Prayer. I forget how old I was when I realized, I'm pretty sure at about 14 or 15, probably younger than that, probably about 13, I realized how dumb prayer was. Like, I was like, what is the point? And I get how some people like it's sort of a meditative thing. I understand that. I'm not trying to bash anybody that has faith in their life. That's totally your right to believe what you want. No judgment here. But for me personally, just speaking for my own self, eventually I found it beyond absurd that, especially since I went to Catholic school, and it eventually just got a little ridiculous to me that, I'm supposed to learn geometry in 2 minutes, but first I need to talk to an invisible man that lives in the clouds. First I need to do that. I'm going to learn physics, but first I'm going to pray to a guy that could make a bush burn and had talking snakes on Earth. First I got to do that, then I got to learn science. First, I gotta talk to an invisible man in the sky. Then I gotta learn religion. Doesn't that seem counterproductive? We had religion class, where religion class was basically like, hey, this shit's even more ridiculous than you thought. That's what religion class was, because by the time you reached like an age where you were thinking critically, like 9th grade maybe, religion class would just be everybody in the class arguing with the teacher. In my high school, that's all it was. It was everybody in the class arguing with the teacher. Because the teacher would be like, hey, here's this dogma ridiculous nonsense that you have to spew back at me to get an A. And this is the truth. And we'd be like, what sane person would consider this the truth? Well, you have to or you fail. That was just... So... And, I'm really not trying to... Again, this is me. Like, this is me. I'm talking for myself. So I guess my question for the day is... And my answer is a resounding yes, hell yes, 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 holy shit, yes. But my answer is I would love to get Greg Graffin on. I think that might be easier said than done. I've emailed the guy before. I've never heard back, so I'm a little unsure. But so, and some of you guys that I guess had similar experiences to me in Catholic school or some kind of Christian school said you had similar experiences. So my question today: should we end the National Day of Prayer? Isn't that something that shouldn't happen? Shouldn't that not be a thing? Why do we have that? Why? I mean, I know why we have it. It's because we don't really have a separation in church and state. It's because the right still needs the religious right to really get anything done. Even though that group is arguably dwindling, they're still out there. And Republicans can't win without them. The corporatocracy can't win without them. And... they really got them in their pocket. But again, we're talking in a should society. This is saying what we should do, not what they're going to do. They're not going to end the National Day of Prayer. But my question is, should they? My answer is a resounding yes. And what is your guys' answer? Would like it if it was a day of meditation and or prayer. My imaginary friend killed more people. Thank yours in his book. Okay. Nah, the Bible Belt will bitch about it. It's basically still a nothing day to me. So it's kind of not worth the battle, is what you're saying. I understand that. But I really think... I don't know. I really think that we should get rid of it. We probably won't for a while, but we should. We're supposed to have a secular government. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and DC points out, do you think anyone is doing Muslim prayers at breakfast? No, they're definitely not. They're for sure not. Did God demand this day of prayer? That's, you know what the funny part is? Jesus himself was actually against public prayer. There is a quote in the Bible, Jesus was not pro-public prayer. He was actually against it. According to the Bible, which I know you guys are thinking, Ron, we talked about fiction last week. We got to do a different question, but just for the record, it's you can find hypocrisies in Christians' own dogma, is all I'm saying. Aren't you supposed to pray every day or like every Sunday? I guess. I think so. I don't know. And again, meditation's a great thing. I personally, I enjoy chanting for reflection. I like to chant the old SGI Buddhist mantra, the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I like to do it. It's therapeutic. It helps me think. It helps me unwind. It clears my head. James says he prays to Joe Pesci. I pray to Joe Pesci. Half the time I get what I want, half the time I don't. That's a George Carlin bit. Shout out to a brilliant George Carlin bit. God is needy. Maybe not Jesus, but that Yahweh has a bigger head. I kind of thought about how, when you really think about what at least Christians believe, and it's other religions too. I'm not trying to single them out. That's just what I happen to know the most about because I was raised Catholic, so I know, I know the most holes in that one because that was what I was raised with. But I think all religions, have their share of that, which is ridiculous. The idea that there's a supreme being that loves us, right, and has this eternal happiness, sunshine place for us, but every 3 people that this supreme being puts on the planet, 2 of them starve to death. 2 of them don't have enough food to eat, and they starve to death. And why does the supreme being do that? Well, to test your faith. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a supreme being. That sounds like somebody with serious self-esteem issues. Like serious self-esteem issues. And that's not somebody I want to pray to or rely on. That doesn't make sense. It's almost like maybe we don't know why we're here and we're trying to figure it out. But the idea of some ever-knowing, ever-loving God sounds pretty far-fetched and bogus to me. Like, 2 of you are going to starve to death because I'm testing the one of you that can think critically because you have enough food to eat. And if you don't believe this shit, it's almost like maybe a bunch of rich people made that shit up so they could control poor people. It's almost like maybe they were like, hey, I know it sucks that you're poor, but yours is the kingdom of heaven. God's testing you now because yours, us, dude, we're rich. We're not going to be able to get through heaven through the eye of the needle. We got to start doing sit-ups now because we ain't going to heaven. But you, front row seat. So don't rise up and kill us and take our shit because heaven, all yours. It's almost like before they had bombs. That was an easier way to control the masses as opposed to just slaughtering them. I don't know. Religion has become more and more based on fear. Bob, when was it not based on fear? Honest question. Like, I mean, that's a good... It has increased, I agree with you. But when was it not based on fear? I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. Did God invent maggots? Depends on who you ask. I actually thought that was Susan Sarandon's fault, but I could be wrong. I thought she invented those. By the way, so I guess our overall answer is yes, we should end it, or just don't bother. It's not a battle worth having. Which I understand both perspectives. I really do. But I think, you know what? We live in a secular society. It's time to actually do it. Or we're supposed to have a secular government and a secular society. Let's actually frickin' do it. That's what I say. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.